Hello, my name is Jordan, and welcome back to the NIMBY Rails tutorial series. Last time, we did this happy little tram system in Hillsborough to connect in some of the other population centers in the area to our subway system. And we also built our Portland to Salem line. So today, we're going to be focused on improving the Portland transit. Because at least at first, Portland is going to be the main driver of all of our traffic. So we want to funnel a lot of people into this central station if we can. So to that end, we're going to build a tram system out here in Gresham, similar to this, just a small little thing to increase the catchment of the subway station. We're going to build a tram system out here in Salem so that maybe we can start filling up some of the return trips to Portland as well. And we're going to do the initial north-south subway line, which I think will take all the way to downtown Vancouver. And we'll take south to probably Oregon City. We'll keep it along the river. So let's start with the subway system. Now, we're going to keep doing the same, using the same trains on our subway as we have been, but we need to build a new north-south platform because, as I mentioned, these 350-meter platforms, they're exclusively for intercity lines. So we want a 200-meter platform that we can use for a north-south subway. Okay, so we have that station. And now let's go up, turn on the population overlay. Let's kind of take a look at the route. So it would be nice to hit University Park. This is where the University of Portland is. And head out towards Vancouver from there. I think I really only see 2 stops. Mainly, well, I suppose we could do Boise, then University Park, kind of zigzag it back and forth. But I'm actually envisioning a second subway line at some point in the future, north-south, that goes up here, then crosses over to University Park and heads to Cathedral Park. So maybe we'll just do Boise, Piedmont, Hayden Island, Vancouver. That seems like it would be good. All right. So build a platform here. The People's Yoga. That definitely sounds like Portland. All right. And once we complete this subway system, it is going to drastically increase the number of transfers that we get in Portland city center. And because anybody starting north-south and wanting to end up east-west or vice versa will need to make a transfer in the city center. So it's very important that our station is large enough that it can handle all the transfers that will be in the station. This goes back to what I was talking about in the first episode, where you can accidentally box yourself out of all the demand that you fought hard to generate by just not having a station large enough. Fortunately, we should be fine. However, we will double check once we've finished building. See if maybe we need to add more platforms. All right, now heading south. This is the Portland State University. So this is University of Portland. This is Portland State down here. Portland State is much larger. Tens of thousands of students. University of Portland is a private college and is not nearly as large. Let's see here. Yeah, maybe a station right here, and then one on the south waterfront. Yeah, that's what we'll do. This is all extremely dense for Portland, so it makes sense to kind of saturate it with subway and not rely on filling it up with trams later on. But to get these people into the fast corridors of the system as soon as we can. Okay, Willamette Park. Come on. There we go. All right. We'll hit Riverdale. It's much too large. Okay. Lake Oswego. Merrillhurst. Right now, this is building along Oregon 43. That's this highway. It goes through here, goes through Lake Oswego, and ends up in Oregon City. Dumps into I-205, which is this freeway right here. Let's see here. I think what we'll do is Bolton and then Oregon City, and then we'll leave Rosemont for a tram system because there's a lot of demand out here. It'd be hard to hit it all with our subway. So is there anywhere we want to go with the subway after Oregon City in this direction? I don't think so. Go down to here. Ugh, if I can get these lengths right. Okay. And then our last station in the north-south line. Right there. All right. Now just connect it all up. Just like we've been doing. $276. Yep, that's fine. 274. Okay. So once we have this line built, we're probably going to see very nearly $1 million in revenue from our subway lines every day. It might not be quite that much, but it'll start getting pretty close. And this is just another example of what I was saying earlier when I was talking about how money really is not a challenge in this game. Not at the moment. Obviously, the game is in early access. The developer, Carlos, is working on a lot of the core systems. So I think a lot of the balance and tuning is something that'll come along later. But at the moment, it's kind of pretty simple to, again, I mean, if you're keeping track of the things that you need to do, how the game mechanics work, if you're just trying to duplicate existing systems as closely as you can, it'd be very easy to run into problems because the game mechanics don't behave, real world. It isn't a perfect simulation. But if you're tracking the game mechanics, it's at the moment very easy to do the management side of this because it takes you almost no time to get to an infinitely sustainable position. And that's just about where we find ourselves right now. All right. And that is our north-south subway line. But it will cost $1 billion, which we don't have. So no worries, no fear. You'll just take another loan because, again, it just doesn't matter. We will make this money up so fast. Take a new loan, build me my rail, and it's there. Okay, so we're going to pause for this. The reason we're going to pause while I do the line is because if you create stops on a line while time is running, people start immediately queuing for the rail, even if you don't have any trains on it or anything like that. People start accumulating immediately. So once you start actually putting in a line, generally you want to make sure that the time is paused, so that you're not generating a lot of dissatisfaction that might spread to your other lines and cause additional problems. So this is PDX subway Vancouver OC. It's Vancouver, Oregon City. And its code is PDX-SW-2. And then we're giving it the same standard subway pricing. However, this color is going away because I really don't like it. It's already being used on the West Coast local. I don't want to encourage that further. How about a purple? Purplish pink. Yeah. That's good. Okay. So start here. And it's the same as it's always been. We just go up and make sure all the stations get selected. We have this nice back and forth loop. And I will go through later when I'm not recording and fix all these station names. Okay. And there we go. Let's just verify, yeah. Okay, so all the stations are in place. All right, so you saw what happened when we estimated 100, not allowing it to account for the speed up and slow down. This estimate was almost 20 minutes off on the east-west line. So we're gonna set the ideal speed to 90, even though we're using the same trains for this one, just so we can get something that's a little closer. And just looking at the distances and times between these two, that seems about correct. So I would expect about 125 for the actual trip. But this is why we do the train, the single train. On the route by itself, so that we can see empirically how long it takes. Or just send this to my Vancouver subway. All right. And now we want this. So this will be the same thing. We're going to sit, we're going to wait, we're going to see what the actual time to travel the entire line is. Last time we ended up in a really fortunate situation where we had a travel time of pretty much exactly 100 minutes. I don't anticipate we're going to run into something quite so wonderful this time. So since it'll probably be a little messier, I'll show you how to do the math when it's not so straightforward. It's still pretty simple math though. Well, I mean, I say that, but math can be hard. 120, 121. So I was saying 125 sounded about right. And yeah, it's picking up. 124, 124, almost exactly 125. Yeah. It's okay. Oh, now it's up to 100, an hour and 26. Okay, so we'll say an hour and 25. That is 85 minutes. So suppose we want 10-minute intervals. Well, we can pull out a calculator. So let me pull that up. Here we go. So we have 85 minutes. There are 60 seconds in a minute. So this is 5,100 seconds. The reason we do the conversion to seconds is because if we just do straight dividing, minutes and hours are in terms of 60, but we'd be dividing in terms of 10, the math would get all messed up. So we just want to do everything in seconds and then convert it back to minutes when we're done. So if we want the same 10-minute intervals, then what we need to do is divide this by 600, which is the number of seconds in 10 minutes, and that'll tell us how many trains to use. Well, it'd help if I hit the divide button. So divide by 600, 8.5. So if we divide, let's see, 5,100 divided by 8. Okay, so that'd be 10 minutes and 37 seconds. Because the 600 was 10 minutes, there's 37 seconds left. We're just going to ignore the half. So that would be the interval, 10 minutes, 37 seconds, and we put 8 trains on. I think I'm okay with that. Yeah. That'll be acceptable. So we already have 1 train on. We just need to buy 7 more. Okay. And just assign them all. All right. Then we go back to the line, and we need to set the interval. So min stop time, we can keep it at 10 seconds. The interval is going to be 10 minutes and 37 seconds. Set it for all the stations. And now it's going to maintain that interval between all the trains. Okay. So if we turn time back up, here we go. All of them are waiting in Portland. And we can see them start to space out between each other. And we want to watch and verify that once they're all spaced out, none of these intervals are a great deal larger than what the interval we calculated. I see some that are 1042, 1039. These are more, but they're not that much more. It's a few seconds off. That's totally fine. But we don't want to see something that's like 25 minutes. See, there's still 57 down here, but that's because the first train is still coming around. So once this first one comes around, all right. So now, yeah. So every single station has an interval between 1037, the one we calculated, and 1042. That is a span of only 5 seconds. So we did good on that math. Excellent. All right. And we can see over here, this is a profitable line. It isn't generating quite as much as the Gresham-Hillsborough line, but then we just created it. So that's not terribly surprising. Yeah, we'll just keep an eye on that. Now, we want to build a tram out here in Gresham and a tram in Salem. And these should be pretty straightforward and quick. We don't need to be super exact with this. We know 100-meter platforms. We know we'll hit out here. We'll head out to Powell Valley. Well, do we want to hit Troutdale with the tram? We might. Okay. We will take the tram all the way to Troutdale. Normally, it would make sense to kind of put a subway up here, but I don't really see myself running another subway north of this one. And I don't really want to do a branch line here just to Troutdale. So we'll try and catch all of these riders into Gresham. Yeah. All right, so do this. Well, actually, we might not want to start it right there. There we go. Oh, and there's water. That's lovely. Okay, so not on that side. All right, so we're gonna break realism a little bit here and just put it straight through some housing developments. I think we've spent enough money on this transit system to deserve some eminent domain. So it'll go here, then here. This is going to be a bit of a weird shape. But we will get our coverage. Yeah. So, like I was just saying, this is going to be kind of a weird shape, but it's going to come up like this. Okay. And then over, and then we're going to make like a backwards C almost, like the letter C. It's going to go up like this and dump into that station. And then from here, we will, how are we going to escape here? We're going to have to cut through some backyards. And possibly some houses. As I said, we've earned our eminent domain. All right. And then maybe that. Rotate that a little bit so that it lines up better. There we go. So that covers Troutdale and Wood Village, which is nice. And then from down here, the other end of the tram, we want Maple Park. Well, not that long. There we go. And Howell Valley. And this will be enough. Okay. So just connect these in. Yeah. And again, we're going for, a bit of realism here. That's why I'm keeping the trams on the road right of ways wherever I can. Getting over there is not going to be fun, though. Oh, I'm not going to do that. And I don't want to demolish the library either. Okay. Do this, and we will cut through here. And then join up like this. It's a bit of a weird jog. It works, though. Not too bothered about it. As long as the speeds are fine. Okay. So there's our Gresham tram line. Only $11 million compared to the billion we just spent on the subway. I suppose that doesn't include all those houses we demolished, though. Got them for free somehow. All right, and now pausing because we're going to make a new line. So go over here. PDX tram. And we'll call this the Troutdale tram. So PDX-T-2. And then our standard tram pricing. And then, please, dear God, a different color. Maybe a gold. Yeah, that'll be fine. Okay. Now just Get all the stops. Oh, I was about to make the pun, and then we'll be golden. But I resisted. My fiance would absolutely want me to be making those kinds of puns. Okay. And let's see, estimate travel time. It's 40, estimate an hour. So again, we'll say 10-minute intervals with 6 of them. I'm okay with being less exact about the intervals and the spacing on trams. On subways, it's pretty critical that they run pretty regularly. But on the trams, I'm much more okay with there being a bit of a gap here and there. So yeah, we want 6 of these, the Stadlers. Okay. Are they the right length? Yes, they are. Purchase. Okay. So it remembers your previous multi-selection. That's why I keep having to unselect it. There's some UI quirks in this game. There's the Troutdale line. Okay. And we have our intervals set. Okay. Well, it can go. And they should start spacing. So let's just make sure that they do. Looks like the spacing is going to be a little bit large, but it'll probably be acceptable. Yeah, 12 minutes. That's fine. That is not a big deal. Excellent. All right. So we've built a subway. We've built a tram line over here. And we're going to build another tram line down here in Salem. Now, this one has some unique restrictions. We have this above ground rail here, our main north-south corridor, and the tram line can't cross it the same way that it can cross these tunnels, for obvious reasons. So if we want to take the tram over our corridor here, then we've actually got to switch to the viaduct. But the tram line I was thinking of was actually going to go up here to West Salem and then up here to Salem Town. So I don't think that's going to be a problem this episode. But in the future, it's a thing we might need to be aware of. So I'm going to start this as close as I can. All right. And we want... Yeah. What we'll do is this. We'll get that. We'll get those riders this way. I don't know. If I lived over here, I would walk to this instead of crossing, probably. Well, in any case, this is going to require viaduct as well. So let's get that out of the way. Just gonna go straight through. All right, and this, and we are not too worried about it reducing speed since they're going to be limited to 45. There we go. Okay, now we want one more station up here. And one up here. And then we're done. Ugh, come on. There we go. So let's just build. Don't do this. You're going to make me do it. Okay. It's the game mechanics don't really change because of that, but I really dislike just the aesthetics of doing that. But I will live with it. In the grand scheme of things, probably not going to be looking at the transit system inside Salem in detail too often once it's built. Although I suppose that would kind of be true of almost anywhere where we complete the transit system. So anyways, this is about $10 million. Build all the blueprints. Pause, and we're doing here. All right, so this is our first non-Portland line. So SLM for Salem. Tram. Salem Town. SLM-T-1. And our same standard pricing. 105. And this seafoam color. I'm okay with that. Okay, so the main reason for building this tram line is to see if we can generate more traffic for these return trips on this extremely lucrative Portland-Salem line. Since we're going to create this as kind of like a central station, the same way we did in Portland, this will help funnel people into these trips, which will be quite good for us. So let's do our travel estimating. 28 minutes. So I don't know, three of them with 9.5 minute intervals is what I'll do. Okay. Okay. And now let's watch them space out. Nine and a half might be too much, actually. Let's drop it to 9-minute intervals. Okay, that's a little better. Excellent. All right. Well, that is all of the work that we wanted to get done in this episode. But what we'll do is we will run this for a little while at high speed, kind of get a feel for where our finances are at. We'll take a look at the whole company accounting page. You'll notice it's actually going slower now than it was when I first showed this mode. And that's because, as I said, it's limited by my computer's ability. So now that there are more things to simulate, it goes slower. And it'll continue, this max speed mode will continue to slow down as it has more things that it needs to simulate and process. So the only way that could be improved is if the developer Carlos did enhancements to the efficiency of the code itself. So let's look. What did we do yesterday? Oh, look at that. Yesterday we did almost 9 million in profit. And the day before that, kind of hard to tell actually with all of the expenses. We did 6 million in fares. How about we do another day? We let it go until Wednesday. I'll cut it out so that you don't have to sit here and just watch a gray screen. Okay, so I actually simulated all the way through to Friday just so that we could see more of what's going on. So let's go all the way to our current day. And let's look backwards. So we can see accounting is done off of UTC. There's no time zone adjustment for your accounting. There is time zone adjustment actually for the trains themselves, which is interesting. But not for the accounting. So it goes off of UTC. So here in Portland, we are -8 on UTC. So as you can see here at 1600, it rolls over to the next day. So at 4 p.m. it rolls over to the next day on accounting. So we're in Saturday and we're an hour and a half into Saturday and we've already made 1.1 million. That's not bad at all. Let's look at Friday. 9 million. 6.7. 6.7. 6.7. Oof, nearly 10 million on Monday. Yeah. So, I think we're in a spot now where we don't really need to worry anymore. But about our finances, that's all taken care of. We'll pay back these loans whenever we get enough money and feel like it. Basically, we could even take out a third loan if we wanted to, and we would still be able to pay it all back in barely a week and a half, actually. So we've basically completed the game as far as getting it to the only kind of, I guess, a victory condition that there is in the current format. As I mentioned, the game is very early in early access. It only was released on Steam in early access, I think 2 weeks ago. And Carlos, the developer, has been working on this game for, I think it's 4 years. So a lot of what's been done so far are all of these underlying intricate systems. But a lot of the gameplay stuff, as far as like goals, achievements, things like that, those aren't implemented yet. You have to set your own goals. So the only external goal is really paying back your loans. We'll be able to do that pretty much whenever we like. I just need to run simulation at high speed until I have enough money, and I can do that. It wouldn't even take that long, maybe an hour of simulating, and I'd be debt free. But that's why a game like this is really beautiful, because we'll be able to set our own goals. As I mentioned, I wasn't really focused in the first episode on making tons of money. I mean, I was focused on making sure that people knew how to do it, but I was more focused on the fun of building a really intricate system that just spans the whole West Coast. And that's kind of still what I'm shooting for. So next, I think we're going to tackle the very, very daunting task of creating a line from Portland to Seattle. I don't think we'll be able to do that in one episode. These episodes have already been, 40 to 50 minutes long. That's already much longer than most people want to watch anyways. But we'll tackle that goal next, however long it takes. And if I need to, I'll split it up into multiple episodes so that it's a little more watchable. How we approach that is going to be a really interesting question. There is some decent rail right-of-way through Seattle and Tacoma, but it doesn't really give us the curves that we want to keep up decent speed. So if we want to build a high-speed rail system, we're going to have to figure out our own right-of-ways instead of reusing the ones that already exist in the world. And this is just an artifact of the fact that the United States does not really have high-speed rail systems, unlike a lot of places in Europe and in Asia. The United States is just kind of too large in a lot of ways for high-speed rail. Like people talk about a New York to Los Angeles line, but that's kind of like a Madrid to Moscow line. I mean, there are rail lines that connect Madrid and Moscow, but it's not a single unified high-speed system. But it's the same kind of distance, the same kind of challenge. Even worse terrain in some cases. But anyways, that's not what we're trying to do right now. We're just building out our system and having some fun. Anyways, I hope you're having fun. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for watching. Again, if you have any comments or suggestions, questions, things of that nature, please leave a comment, and I'll try to answer any comments that are left for me. Have a good day, and I hope to see you next time.